And okay, this is the Nu Aegis Now call for October 9th. At this moment, the hurricane is blowing into Florida's coast, west coast, at a category 4, which is pretty high, 125 to 50, 150 mph. And it's going to go through like within a very short window, like 12 hours or so, go across the whole state, which is a thin peninsula. So it'd be interesting to see. Well, I had something happen this morning. I met a man just a minute before I got on the call. His name is Freddie, and he said that he's from here, but he's been away. He had been away for a long time. He's been building bridges, painting bridges all over the United States, big bridges, and including in New York. He said, I was up in New York quite a bit, and I told him that's where I'm from, etc. And he said, I thought so, you know, but your brogue is out a little bit. My New York brogue. And anyway, he's a real nice guy, very open. And he said he's got a farm that's right up the road, about 3-4 miles away, straight up the road, goes right into his farm. I go, wow. So I'm talking to him at the end of the conversation, but first of all, we talked about his travels, and I said, oh, the Tappan Zee Bridge, that's where, you know, that's real close to where I grew up. Actually, it is. It goes into the county and the town where I was 3 or 4 years old living there. We had a stone house, actually, really cool looking stone house. And it's right there at the river where the bridge is. And he said that he broke his back. He fell off the bridge and broke his back. And that was the end of his painting working days on the bridges. That was 2004 or 3, which was the year that we moved to this area, which is also quite coincidental. So I'm discussing with him, and he about, oh, you've got a farm. I want to tell you what we did up in Baja with the new Sunrise Trail, and about creating a hiking trail and finding this oasis, and working on the completing the circle, and also the farm people that we met and the builders and so forth. And we said we had this idea of something like a green power lodge to build or do with them. And so I mentioned that it's this like all-encompassing, all-in-one hydroponic greenhouse, energy producing, electricity, hydrogen hydroponics. And his face got really bright, and he had to go. He's got a really bright face to begin with, and it's really neat. You know, he had a bright red, like, it wasn't a Humvee, but it was something like that, car. And when I got the mail, I stood out on the road, and I stopped, and the car starts coming over the little rise, and I just stood there to look at it. I don't know why, I just felt like it. And he pulls right over to me. I didn't wave at him, you know, he just pulls right over, and I go, hey. And there we go. We started talking, and it's like, okay, there's another Sunrise Trail man. He even had a few quotes about so-called Jesus or Christian church, you know, because there's where his farm is right next door to the pastor's house or the church that's out there at the end of that road. So I mentioned it. Oh yeah, you live out by the church, and it's also where the agricultural center there's a building there, I think, where they have meetings by a lake on that same road that he lives on. And I know that the agricultural community meets there, the farmers. And so, you see, as like something developing there. And I'm going, wow, you know, really neat attraction there. And so Fred pulls up right next door, Freddie. I think he wants to be called Freddie, which I think is cool, right? You know, it means he's a lighthearted Fred.
Right. Anything E, Lenny, Freddie, Petey, Jimmy, Eddie, Charlie, everything E is good. Little person. Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. When they call me PD too, which they will, or whatever, they call me everything. I think he called me Pedro while we were talking. I don't know. So we were working on. Do we get any participants? Oh, you invited a few. Is Fred in the participants list?
I didn't invite him, but yeah, I can. Okay. I can. Okay, let me go back and get him.
Yeah, let me try that.
Okay.
It's easy to lose track of where the conversation is and stuff. So I was saying about what happened this morning is my wife's brother came over and he had the chainsaw and he's up here because he's escaping the storm and that he's in a possible danger area. And he does things like he's got a mobile or something that he has been fixing up. You know, he bought the property with the mobile that needs fixing, and so I fix up these things, and he lives in them, and I think then he sells them or whatever. You know, he's done this a few times, and he's done some repair. I helped with a roof that was needed on the other family house, which is nearby, and so anyway, so we had these trees down. This one in particular wasn't completely down. It was hanging by a thread, really, and I mean, it was almost all the way down. It was about an angle. Part of the top of the tree was down. It's a branch, actually, of the tree, but big, real big one, real super heavy. And so we had to be careful with it, and we're trying to pull it with a chain and a rope, and we couldn't get it to fall. So we cut off a bunch of it, and we had, you know, basically had to chop it up that way with his electric saw. And he had all his tools and stuff because he came up to do this stuff. So he's an Aquarian. And so that was what we did this morning, which was kind of almost the final stage of all the stuff I needed to do to clean up around here. But the storm now is coming into Tampa, like right now. And I think that this is important in our relation to what we're talking about, because why are these storms happening? I mean, this one is really, really bizarre. It is very, very large. At the same time, its zone of power is very, very small, tight. And that's why you can get hurricanes at Category 4, because, you know, they're super compact with a very refined center hole, and that's what's hitting Tampa. So they're going to get very high surge, and the one that we had a week ago that came right up through our place, and went over all the way up to Carolinas into up to North Carolina and Asheville in particular, which is the rich area of North Carolina, on the border edge of the mountains and such. and they had some dams break or river lakes overflow, and whole towns almost wiped out. And so, but again, the causes or cause and effect of what's going on is a wake-up call, of course, and also that the way that they think about all of these things in a very limited fashion, because they don't understand that it's very possible that the way that they're doing the landing, housing, and also all related to the business, insurance business in particular, is such a boondoggle where they have all this insurance, but they don't give people insurance for what they really need, and or the people that really need the insurance, like the people in North Carolina who weren't expecting anything like this at all and had no warning. And so the attitude about rebuilding and such is, again, oh, we got to just rebuild what we already had, and all of that kind of attitude. And they don't think, well, maybe we should build structures that are arched, are rounded, that have much higher levels of function. And in particular, can point right to the Green Power Lodge, because that's a completely functional and all-encompassing and non-polluting, at least as far as I know, on the pollution end, a living structure, if you will.
Let me ask you this. Excuse me, but how does the All Power Labs fit into the green structure, that you're talking about? I mean, is that the dragon part of it?
Yeah, they built a different one, a gasifiers, and they called it what, All Power Gasifier or something like that. Yeah,
so that's the dragon, their version, right?
Yeah, evidently it's more efficient or something. That's what they were. There's an indication that the Green Power Lodge people were using this, or the ones in Montana or friends are going to use this All Power Labs one because it has somehow some function that's more efficient.
All right.
And that's
Did you get the price on that?
What?
I didn't see any price on it. Did you know what they're charging?
I didn't either. Yeah, I looked, and you don't see a price. It's somewhat possible that they're looking for people who really want to implement these machines, and so they want to do something as a coordination with them. I don't know exactly. So, the thing about the Green Power Lodge, Michael Smith, Montana, is that their site, Regenitech, is offering soils, gallon by the gallon or different sizes. A gallon was like $175 for the soil enhancement, char produced, I guess we could say, so that they did have some products for sale. And I did not see them in what they do when they have people that want to. They had a map, Green Power Lodge, with EPLs and then a circle for a few places around the world, maybe 10 to 15 spots. And inclusive with that also were spots that were on, it said, meaning that it's an active live plant, I think. I couldn't see exactly how the map was related or connect to see, I didn't see it exactly, but that was my general impression of it. So they have some that are on and some that are in building mode, and maybe they need funds in order to be able to expand the network. But I'm not sure that they're charging or what the agreement is right for the economics. So this is always an issue, and also the fact of their when they're doing it in a certain way that requires agreements of the insurance companies and the building proprietaries, land use, you come across all of the restrictions and all of that stuff, which is it's got to be issues that they're either dealing with or they, thinking of how to organize it or have some. They're going to try to do it in certain fashion and see what happens, or those three possibilities. So okay.
Well, at least they got it. I don't know if you saw the video for All Power Labs for Berkeley, how they got it through there. They had some issues there. The city cut off their electricity and everything, and they had to fight through everything, all the restrictions, but they finally got it going up there. Of course, Berkeley's a rebellious city anyway. I mean, they're, usually forefront of a lot of stuff, so maybe that's why too, because they're up front with new age thinking. And
you guys watching the soap opera?
No, we're talking about the Green Power Lodges, and all that stuff.
The Green Power Lodge?
Yeah, with Michael Smith.
Oh, that big thing?
Yeah, that's
pretty big.
Well, there's an All Power Labs that sells a smaller unit. It's like the Dragon.
Are they selling those?
Yeah.
What do they cost?
10,000. We don't know. That's what we're
okay. Well, we want those. You'd be proud of me. I'm planting.
Okay.
Did you see me over there digging?
I saw you over
there. I'm
there.
gonna put a bunch of aloe over there because it does good in the shade.
Okay.
So if we're starving, we can eat aloe. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're working on too. Okay.
Yeah, starving.
And Dwayne's got, now he's into the aloe and jade plant. He's really hyped on that. He's putting it everywhere. He's planting it, taking cuttings and planting them everywhere. So.
Okay. Is that just on the property or somewhere else?
Yeah,
too?
yeah. And I'm continuing at the beach. I'm continuing with, on the left side, I've got this upright cactus. I'm not sure what it's called, but it's like, goes upright and has little red flowers on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm continuing with that. And like I say, Sunday I'm going to go on the hike. So I'm going to send this to Mario and Bloss, the All Power Labs link, to keep them updated about what we're looking at.
Yeah, because they have that perfect infrastructure up there with the water supply thing.
Yeah,
and the power pump that they have, and they could that one's kind of lined up, possible.
Let me ask you another question. And there's another video I watched, the one they went to Liberia. It was really well marketed. I mean, they had the before and after, and they had all the natives there cheering because they had no electricity. Liberia only has like 10% of the people have electricity. So they went to this little town and they installed this thing, and then they turned on the lights and everybody's cheering and everything. But how long does it last? When you put the chips in there, the organic material, how long does that last for? Electricity that it generates. Do you know that?
I don't. What I got as a thought is that what they're organizing has something to do with variable sizes and models. That there's that bigger one, we'll say, in Montana, and then but I think that they're also talking about singular units that can be used in small acreages, 2 acres, 1 acre, even. I mean, it's like that's what I'm seeing with that is they can do these at various sizes. You do need a chipper with the hydrogen. I mean, with the carbon fuel dragons.
And apparently, you need green material. Doesn't work. You need like wood chips or some kind of hard material, organic material, right?
Right.
So I don't know. Cyprus they have some trees over there. I don't know if they have enough stuff over there to feed it.
Cypress trees for sure.
Yeah, and the dead ones too. They have some dead ones. A lot of dead ones from the fire.
Yeah, this is the issue, because right now there's between here, let's say my town, and the 15-minute drive to the Georgia border and the town Lake Park and Valdosta, which is a large city, Valdosta. And by the way, I have to pull something in here just to remind me to talk about it. The new Lord of the Rings, it's called the Rings of Power. Okay. And it's really good. we've been watching it. It's a series, and we've gone through the first 8-year series episodes, and it's directly related. I'm going to go right there, but just remind me now what we were just talking about was. Where was I?
What to feed the chip, or what to feed it?
Yeah, the chips.
Carbon material.
Well, but so I'm saying is all the trees are down between here and the Georgia border and into Lake Park, and almost all of Lake Park is all the trees almost all down. And what's interesting, what happened to me yesterday was I had to put my car into the shop because it got rusted on the alternator belt, and so I had to go. I have to get a new one because the belt split, and they're claiming that I need to get a new alternator. So I went over to the town where we had the car taken to, and at the same time I looked around the area where I lived. And this short part of the story is not where I live, where my friend lived, David. And this relates to the story too, so I'm going to include this. While I was at the food store, I met this old man named David. Very nice man. He was short, little guy, and loves the woods. And he's been down here about 30 years in a small mobile or something like that building. And he's never had anything happen in any of the storms the entire time. This time, last week, a tree fell on his house or in his building, and it wrecked it.
Yeah.
And I was talking with him, as sweet as anything, and really nice old guy, 80 years old. And he said he's leaving. He's sold the place, and that was the reason. And he's going to go to North Carolina, where probably pretty close to where the what happened up there. And then he said also, well, I might go back to Alaska, where he came from. Oh, so you're going back to all the old places that you once lived? He said, yeah. And I said, well, I've been doing that too. And funny. So this guy looked like the character in the Wings of Power that I just saw, the part I just saw. And this is what the man said to the evil guy who is going to become the Dark Lord. He says to him, you can go and do good, or you can stay on the path you're on. This is the quote in the movie. And he says it to him. He says, well, there's always a choice. You can go from here this way, or you can come with, go follow the good. Well, come with us. We're going to go, we don't know where we're going to go, but it's going to probably be good, or something good's going to happen there, because, that's a lot of times that's what happens. Maybe not always, but, but you're going to go, where are you going, and this guy Sauron, he's going to become the Lord, the Dark Lord of the Rings. And this guy's giving him the choice, or saying, and this guy looked just like the guy I met, so, I'm going, okay, yeah, I'm thinking about it. You know what I mean? Because whatever we do, you can get a lot of money, and then what are you going to do with it? Oh, yeah, man, I'm going to have all this money, but blah, blah, blah. No, but you got to watch it, because in the movie, you really should see this episode of, instead of explaining the whole thing, or just the 2 episodes that we just watched were like kick-ass, Oh man, I mean, it's absolutely right on it. And what's going on here? They're creating these rings because they want to save Middle Earth. So they created the 3 rings, and then one of the lords says, I can't do what the Elfin King says, we have to destroy these rings. And the Lord Elrond says, okay, because he's got them in his hand, and you know how the rings are. If you got them in your hand, they're really powerful, and you don't want to let go of it. That's the whole thing about them. And so the Elfin King says, we got to destroy these rings, and Elrond says, I'm not going to do that. And they're right at a cliff, and Elrond jumps over the edge with the rings into a huge, like, one of those big waterfalls. I mean, really big one. And he goes all the way down, and but he survived. They show him later on, and he's talking with another guy about what they should do with the rings. And and the guy's saying that they're both talking back about, you really got to be careful with these rings, or how are we going to keep them out of the hands of the Dark Lord? And that's what the story is keying on at the moment. And there's also Galadriel, who is the woman. What do you call her? The shaman. You remember in the Lord of the Rings, the blonde, Charlize Theron, or the other? No. Kate Blanchett plays.
Yeah, some kind of.
Yeah, the beautiful witch, whatever.
Yeah.
She's fantastic. The scenes with her at the very beginning of the movie are just beautiful. So this is the choice they always have. What are you going to do with this? And that's really kind of what we're saying is, what are we going to do with all of this that we really are aware of? And we're also looking at those people that are coming into the pathways, and whatever develops, because there is no end object, and it's not necessarily to develop anything, but and this is the path that the Hobbit guys are on, and we're just the Hobbit guys. So the tree aspects are also the tree guy. Okay, this is a whole nother part. So I guess I'm going to say the cliffhanger is going to hold off here right now. And maybe you'll look for this. It should be on Amazon or Netflix before you get rid of Amazon, and watch this. It's called The Rings of Power. It's the newest edition of this series. So
yeah,
really,
look for it.
Yeah. And so, hi, Penny. Or, hey, Penny. You've probably heard that one before. Okay, so what questions are we at now?
Well, have you got any response? I've sent inquiries to both All Power Labs and Regenitech, but I've never got any response from anybody except for, we'll get back to you. So we got your message.
All Power
we'll
Labs
get back
did
to
that
you.
too? Really?
Yeah. Well, it's been a couple of days, so.
Yeah, they might not be so long, and they're close by you too.
Yeah. Well, let's see, where's their headquarters?
They're in Southern. I think you know where they are. I think they're in. What's the? Not Redondo. Your Hernando Beach. What is it? Where you guys came from?
Huntington Beach.
I think something south between LA and San Diego.
Anyway, somebody put me in a financial group on WhatsApp, and I've been following it for about 2 months, and I didn't have any money to do anything with it, so I just have been following it. And then something happened. We got a little bit of money, a little bit. So, there's 2 groups. and I got into this the second group, and this lady was so kind yesterday. She spent hours with me getting it set up to trade, and because I'm clueless, and these guys are all, you know, they're making money. All the people in this group are making money. They have a lot more to invest than I do, but investing, and then there's this, the head of the group is named Carl, and he is like a strategist and a financial strategist and a Bitcoin. He knows all about Bitcoin and all that cryptocurrency. And so he gets these. They make about 2 trades a day, and I don't know how he figures it out. I don't know what it does, but anyway. And then Winnie, her name is Winnie, texts me. There's a whole bunch of people. There's tons of people in this, and she texts me personally to tell me what to do and how to do it. And then, and yesterday I made $820, which is a lot of money for me. And that was just by investing. There were 2 trades in the morning, and those the 2 trades. I screwed up the second trade. I could have made a whole bunch more money. But the first trade, I made $364 with using 260, investing 260. So that was the return. And then there was an evening one, and anyway, grand total, I made 2 trades at 200, and made about 464 on that, 464, and or vice versa. Anyway, at $820 using just that amount of money. Okay. Anyway, it's kind of exciting, and AJ's a little concerned about it. He thinks it's a scam, but I don't think it is, because these are the money's in our account, you know. Anyway, I don't know very much about it, but I'm learning it fast.
And what's it called? What's it called again?
Bitcoin. You know Bitcoin.
Oh, Bitcoin, but who's okay, so someone's got the you're able to transfer it into dollars? You were?
And then I use their account, you know, their whatever their account is, their financial website to trade. And you have to do it really fast, you know, because it goes really fast, and it's a very well timed trade, and that's why the one this morning, I did 3 trades of 200. The first one, I made 180. The second one, I lost 200, and the third one, I made 180. So we made 154 on this one. So today's not going to be as good as a trade as yesterday, but I don't care if I make money. You know, I don't know if this guy's a genius. I have no idea. And the other group is the Mr. Hudson's group, and those guys make tons of money, but they invest quite a bit amount of money, you know, 50,000 and stuff like that. But they make a ton of money. Anyway, I hope it works out. In a couple of days, there's going to be what would be called a super trade. He's going to put a super trade together so you can make like way, you know, whatever you invest, you're going to make a lot. You're going to get it back in a whole lot more. You know, like yesterday, the returns were 200% on what you invested. So anyway, that's what I just got into that yesterday. I was scared to do it. So it took me a while to wrap my head around it. But this lady, she spent hours and hours, you know. Anyway, eventually I'm going to have to pay him a commission. But I asked her yesterday, you know, I said, what commission do I owe you? She goes, And here's what she said. Yes, well, your money really isn't very much right now. Later on, when I get to know you better, we'll talk about it. She goes, but right now, it was like, my money is so little, she's not going to worry about it.
Yeah, let me just say about it that it's fine. And I think that what they're doing is basically they're doing a trading module where they have somebody who knows where to trade. And so the people who put in their money for the trade have a pretty good chance of coming out on top. And so they do these spot trades, I guess you'd call them. And you, the group of people are all going in. And so I think that the trader who's doing the spot trading knows what they're doing. And that's the main thing. That it requires risk of trusting someone or their group team. And that's fine. And so you're probably going to see expected a lot of positive and continuous that way. As an example, real briefly, I went to the casino last week, and I didn't really want to do anything, but I've been thinking about doing roulette because of the number cycles in it, and I'm good with that. So I know also to use the star positions numbers, and so I did this 3 times. I didn't play very much, but I won all 3 times. So if I had said I invested like $30, I made $60 or some such like that, you see. And then I stopped playing, usually when I was up at probably about as high as I was going to get at the moment. But I could see that I could do this consistently because the numbers I was choosing was really good. And I had given this list to a man who was sitting next to me one day, and I didn't play that one, but he was playing, and I told him, this happened twice actually, and in this case with this one man, I gave him a list. I had a list of about 11 numbers, or 6 different numbers, or something like that, whatever it was, and at one point, all 6, let's say, just to give it, wasn't accurate, but pretty close, all 6 numbers came in a row, or in some form that was of that number, let's say. And so, you know, if the man had played all 6 numbers 6 times in a row, and each time they won, it would have been one of the 6 numbers had won, he would have made quite a bit of money. Something like 6 times whatever he was playing, $10, $20, $40 per spin. And in 6 spins, he would have won 6 times or 10 times whatever he had. No, it would have been 36 times whatever he had been playing. 36 times $1 is $36, etc. So I could have probably done quite a lot more, but I wasn't there to do that necessarily. So it doesn't matter, though. That's the model that you're sharing, and it's good. That's what people are needing to do now, because a lot of the options for making money are not available anymore, and it's getting closed down a huge amount, so that people are only finding options where they have to look at something that's online. And that's what's going on. So, okay, here we are providing the new wave alternative. The Nu Aegis Now is the title for what we're doing here today. And we just started this today. It was something to do with, coincidentally, that the largest and most dangerous storm in the state's history, possibly, is going right through the middle of the state. It's not going to destroy the whole state of Florida, but it's going to be on a very tight beam that goes through the 2 central cities. That's Tampa and Orlando, which is Disneyland. They're joking about this a bit because, you know, it's going after Disney, and that's the economic center of Florida.
Here, let me ask, is it hitting Fort Lauderdale?
Probably only a little bit lower end. Not the high winds tend to be on the southern or eastern side, and in this case, they're not worried about Fort Lauderdale or Miami. But you know, there'll be effects there. I noticed that there were some pretty heavy bands in Port St. Lucie down to even to just north of Miami. So they're going to get definitely, because this is a very widespread storm in one way, but the danger part is only in a very tight area that goes across the middle of the state. And then it's going to go out to sea. It's going to only last for about 12 hours or so, and then it's gone. It's really strange. It just popped up out of nowhere almost. It seemingly looked like to me that it just got like, boom, put in there. I mean, it's very, very strange. And just in the Gulf, you know, supposedly, but you have to wonder, you know, they got a ship out there creating the Philadelphia experiment or something like it. I don't know. But
I think the one down in Texas, they said it had something to do with being created, you know.
Yes,
that's right. Can't believe that people would do that and create so much destruction, but we all know that it happened.
It's very hard. So this is something that we've had to deal with, that Dwayne has had to deal with for a long time. He's trying to present and share this context of the absolute amount of consciousness manipulation, the physical as well as psychic, and the dimensional whole picture of it, because it's much larger than we suspect. So as an example, I would give this current one where I looked at the map yesterday and there was absolutely no weather anywhere in the entire United States except for this one circle in the Gulf of Mexico. Nothing out there besides this one thing. You know, I go, really? So yeah, it'll change very quickly, of course, but to see a map like that was like, wow. So that's kind of what we're saying is the tip of the iceberg of the amount of, or that this is really leading towards something to do perhaps with well, I don't, you know, Dwayne or anyone else wants to pipe in on it. It has something to do with this alien interference, or the AI controlled module. That's certainly part of it. So if we were to compare 1/2 of the state of Florida with the other 50 states, which would mean 1/100th of the tip of the iceberg is being presented here of what they're actually doing in a manipulative control way that has global, of course, and universal consequences. Thought came to me by saying that it has something to do with, remember the movies that came out in the 50s, in particular The Day the Earth Stood Still, where the alien came and warned the planet, if you don't straighten up, we're going to come in here and wipe you all out. So you need to be aware of what you're doing with your nuclear powers, etc. And that was an extraordinary movie, considering the implications and what it presented for us when we were 1 year old. That movie came out in 1951 myself, and Val was 1 too. Go ahead.
Name of that movie?
Oh, The Day the Earth Stood Still.